Good morning, people. How are you? I am running slightly late this morning, considering things done, but Lucy's not feeling well. Lucy's not eating right, and I'm concerned, and my wife isn't here, so I have to hunt around for people that speak perfect English. The doctors do, but the doctor doesn't, so I don't, he's not much help to me right now, but we'll see what happens. My whole family's out at the farm, so I'm in the city by myself, which I don't mind usually, but it's a little bit concerning at the moment. But she'll be okay, I think, if I can keep her away from the grass, which means that somebody sprayed some shit on the grass that they shouldn't have. But that's what they do around here. They're kind of like that. They don't really uh, care that much about that. But what the effect it has on uh, the effect that it has on people. All right. So, what's going on? People are still claiming that the war with Iran is a distraction from the Epstein files. If he's so badly implicated in those files that he has to start a war and kill thousands of people to protect himself, then the man should be taken out and shot, not dragged out, shot in the back of the head like a coward. Because there's something radically wrong going on there, if that's true. I'm hoping it's not, okay? I don't know, how much I can find out about that, but I don't believe that's true. Because I don't think he cares what you see in the Epstein files, okay? I don't think you care if you find out he's raped 3-year-olds. He doesn't give a shit about that. That's just him. So I don't think you're going to accomplish it. And I'm hoping those people that are writing about it being a distraction are wrong. Now, what's really going on over there is they're talking about arming the Kurds. Now, the Kurdish people this isn't the first time the U.S. has armed them or just negotiated with the Kurds. It hasn't worked out well in the past because Saddam, when it was done against Saddam regrouped and came back and slaughtered millions of them. So Kurds, and we abandoned them then, It's just the way we do things. That's what started. What was the last war we did that in, where everybody got upset? Well, Vietnam we abandoned eventually. There are a lot of good people over there that wanted to see that regime in North Vietnam go, but turns out the country's surviving quite well, and the people in the southern part of the country, those that have not been, no retribution came against them. The ones that didn't get any retribution against them and whatnot because they didn't fight or support are actually surviving fairly well from what I'm told. I have no idea if that's true or not. All right. Nobody I know has been to Vietnam recently. It is a beautiful country. That's what the soldiers that I knew that came back said. The people I knew that were over there, the people were wonderful people. They that's the way they were. I don't know what's going on there with that, but the Kurd thing is really scary because we have a bad reputation when it comes to replacing or using internal struggles to advance our cause, in this case, the destruction of the Islamic regime. Because you got Turkey fights with the Kurds too, and they fight with the ones that are in Syria. Now, if they should, we should start supporting the Kurds in Iran and whatnot, and the Kurds accept that they might, but if they're smart, they'd watch their backs because we're going to dump them because Turkey's going to get pissed. And Turkey's a member of NATO and is an ally. So this is something, and I don't particularly like their leader, but that's the way it goes. You can't pick your friends. You can, it's like you can't pick your parents. You know what I mean? In this situation, it gets very complicated. So we're going to see what's going on there. In the past, it hasn't been. We've never done a real good job, and I said that you see it, you can see it in South America with Pinochet and others that they've put into power, and it just doesn't work well. It's not something that we handle I don't know. We go after we support people for the wrong reasons. We don't make. You have the master of the deal who hasn't made a deal worthwhile since he's been president, and he's supposed to be the big deal maker. And he makes deals that benefit him and his cronies, not to benefit the world or the economy in this country or anything else. He's just out for himself when he does the deal making. And even those deals fall, even his own private deals fall apart. I mean, if you bankrupt as many, you can't bankrupt a casino. I find that very, very hard to believe that you can bankrupt a casino. Most people consider them money machines. I don't know whether they're money machines. I mean, you can bankrupt a casino, but it's going to come from poor management. It's not going to come from anything else. And the poor management is a real possibility with Trump because Trump had no idea what he was doing in the first place. I mean, he's never run anything like that. The casinos are different business. But he's a thief and whatnot. And I guess what he did is he did what the mob did. He took all their assets, sold them off, drove them into a situation where they couldn't make money, and decided that that's it. We don't need them anymore. Bye. That's the way he works. That's kind of stupid, but that's the way he works. Donnie the Donald. But like I'm going back, what I'm trying to say here is that I don't believe allowing him to pick the government in Iran is going to solve any problem whatsoever. We're going to end up with a problem. And it may not be him that has to solve the problem. I hope it's not him that has to solve the problem because he doesn't solve problems. He just creates problems and then walks away. But we're going to have problems there, different types of problems. What people are beginning to say is that they expect him to create chaos over there, and he doesn't want a stable situation. He wants a chaotic situation. And he got that. Bush created that the first time around when he went in and he got rid of Saddam. He immediately, what they did immediately was, it was obvious to a lot of people, but not the right ones apparently. He destabilized the region because Iran and Iraq were concerned only with themselves. They hated each other. They were building up their armies on the border. And who cared if they fought each other? That wasn't an issue. That wasn't going to bother anybody but them. So they decided that so when they, took Saddam out, they destabilized the region. The region became volatile, and Khomeini stepped in. We ended up with hostages in Iran. Reagan coming in, making a deal for weapons for the hostages. Yeah, that's when what's his name got involved in it, the soldier. And that's, I don't remember the guy's name. I can't remember everybody's name right now because I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing. I got a million things going through my head. But that's, they armed a country that wasn't armed that well. They gave them technology that they shouldn't have had, and they turned around and they started building nuclear weapons. and we're lucky we found out about it. And then and the thing is that not sure that they're still not sure if there were weapons that they were building, or were they were capable of it, but were they doing it, and were they not just trying to become an energy superpower in the area? Because that's more important than blowing up your neighbor. That's the thing that Trump doesn't understand. Now, while he's doing this, he's saying, "Well, we're going to take." He's basically threatening to go into Cuba next. The Cubans will probably welcome him. They're dying from starvation. When he does that, he's got to explain why he's deported Cubans from America with his immigration policies. Okay? Once he figured this all out, you'll find out that Trump doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing. He's just creating chaos so that nobody's really taking a good look at how much money he's stealing. Somebody should really do a financial investigation on that prick and see just how much money he's stolen from the United States government, as well as other members of his cabinet and whatnot. People are getting rich, but it ain't me and it ain't you. I can't get rich anyhow. I don't live in the United States anymore. I don't get any benefits from anything he does except my Social Security check. And I'm taking precautions about something if that something happens there. So, but what do you do here? Donald doesn't understand anything. He doesn't operate the way a normal human being operates. And that's scary. Don't you think? I think it is. He's a he's not. They talk about IQ. Look. People told me I had a genius IQ, and I just did miserably in school, in most subjects. I excelled in history, math, subjects. I failed English constantly, and that doesn't mean I can't express myself. It just means I hate being the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. And English teachers have a habit of telling you you're wrong. I had a poet. I ended up in a class in English. Where was it? In college, a first-year English course in college, and the guy says to me, "Interpret these." We were supposed to interpret these poems, and my interpretation was far from the interpretation and the meaning of what the poet was trying to say. Apparently, I didn't care. It made sense to me, So he told me, "Are you crazy?" So I walked up to the front of the classroom, picked him up, put him on top of his desk, and said, "You're fucking right, I'm crazy." And I walked out. And that was the end of college for me. Fortunately, I had taken a lot of sociology and whatnot courses before this. This was a core course that I had to take. So, but this is just me. I can't deal with people. I've told you, you could say no to me, and if you give me a rational explanation, I'll deal with it. I may not like it, but I'll deal with it. If you just say no and turn your back and walk away, you're lucky I don't hit you in the back of the head with a chair, because I can't stand people that do that, because that's nothing more than what Trump is, a totalitarian attitude. And that's Trump. Trump says no and doesn't give a shit whether you like it or not. Trump says, "I'm going to do this," and doesn't give a shit whether you like it or not. And there's people in the Republican Party that I don't know what they're after now. Stephen Miller, I have no idea what he's trying to pull now, because they're starting to look at him funny, and they're looking at Trump a little funny. Because it was all fun and games in the beginning. It's not fun and games anymore. These guys are going to lose their jobs. Some of these politicians are going to lose their jobs. And that, when you lose the jobs, it's not the salary that counts. It's the perks that count. The free lunches, the free cab rides, the airplane trips everywhere. They lose that. That's more worth more to them, and the prestige of being a senator is worth more to some of these people than the job itself is. You know, and some of them truly abuse it. Like you got this gnome, all right, that gnome who just got fired from Homeland Security. She got that job, and she didn't know anything about the job. She still doesn't know anything about what the job curtails. She was only interested in immigration because that created an alliance with Trump, and then she screwed that up. You know, I still want to know who's getting the plane with it. You know what I'm saying? Trump can't use it. He doesn't sleep, and he hasn't gotten it up in years. All right, listen up. It's Saturday. I gotta go take care of this one that's laying down behind me, sleeping soundly. Uh, and we'll see what happens there. And I won't be here tomorrow unless something bad happens. And I pray to God nothing bad happens. And I'll be back Monday. And I want all of you to have a great what's left of the weekend. Jim, if you're around, have a great day. If you're, I think it's got to be very late where you are, and I'm just surprised you come around at all. I'll see if I can do something about this. All right. In the meantime, everybody take care. Have a great day. Hit the subscribe button. There will maybe not be a posted video today. I don't know. See what happens. All right. Take care, everybody.